Welcome, my dear students. Welcome to Hebron Gospel Theological College and Seminary Online. I am your teacher teaching you research methodology. Research methodology is a place of study where your foundation remains in making your academic study more strong, more deeper, and more lengthy. Lengthy in the sense not on your research but in the quality that you are performing. This is a methodological studies about research, how to do your research. When you do your research, there are so many things that you come across. Sometimes you have so many kind of hindrances how I should start my research, the point where I need to do research. In the academic reality, many of us we are very much confused. And that is why many of us failed to submit the thesis or a project work appropriately demanded by the academic management. But research methodology is a place of learning in such a way that enhances your academic style of learning and gives you better luck so that you can find your best way, best methodology to compete and perform in it, and then you prepare your hard work brings up a good success in your methodological studies. So today the journey begins for research methodology. Research methodology, there are two things, one is research and the second one is methodology. So in the first part we are going to look at what is research, how research and why research, from where research, how I start my research. These are so many optimistical questions that you will find on, and you have to go through that. That is quite obvious for each student who is having an academic study, mostly for the MDiv, MTH and PhD students. So this is a place. Let's start. What is research? What is research? Anything that you are looking for and want to find an answer, that is called research, because you are trying your best to find an answer to your question. You have an hypothesis, you have something that you are looking for and you are not getting it, but you are in the process to find out that answer, that solution you're looking for. And through that solution, you are going through many processes, many steps, and those steps are called the methodology. And the tools that you are going to use, that is called the methodological tools, and you will find the conclusion and your research will be appropriate to be accepted by the management and to the academic world. So let us look at what is research. Often there is nothing more important or helpful for a person undertaking a research project than to have a clear understanding of what it is to seek for an answer. It is quite obvious that we are looking for something. We are looking for an answer to our problem. We are looking for a solution. And to find out that solution, we do our research. It may be, time taking. It may be a long process. But sticking to that, seeking the solution, is one of the idea of what is a research all about. So when I am going to teach you, you have to be very keen and careful to understand what way we are doing our research. I hope you will maintain your decorum to understand what is research. So I can help you. The most important thing is that it's not about long answers. It's not about a short answer. It is not about something you have read it and you know it and then you're looking for it. No, it's not like that. It is not about writing 25,000 words or 1 lakh words. It has some, strategies. It has some way to find out what is research. So research can be categorized in many things. Academically, we do a research, or the research can be interrogative, like you can have questions. You can ask questions to people and find out the solution, and then research can be going to a place and then taking up some written articles, looking through that, you can find the research. And then you give some questionnaires, some question answer methods, like you have to do a survey, an interview. So these are the ways that you find out the research solution from the people. So there are methodologies, tools that come across in it. So once we are into the word research, remember you are looking for a solution to your question, and that is called research. So let's look into more deeper aspect of what research and what research is trying to teach us in our study. Representative definition of more comprehensive type. We define research as a research or investigation undertaken to discover facts and new conclusions by critical study of a subject or by a course of scientific inquiry. This is an Oxford English Dictionary definition. A representation or trying to investigate, undertaking to discover facts and reach new conclusions by critical study of a subject or by a course of scientific inquiry. So that involves also a scientific inquiry for research. You have to go through so many inquiries and research problems, and then you are going to find a perfect solution for your research. So now we can also look into it. The House of Dictionary, Random House of Dictionary defines research. It is a diligent and systematic inquiry or investigation into a subject in order to discover or revise facts, theories, and applications. Research is not only, whatever we find becomes the solution. No, there are so many people have also found out so many solutions for some problems. But whether those facts are true or not, you can do a research on that. So revising is also an aspect of research, because the facts always changes. Many of the times when we look into the history, there are aspects where we do not have a proper information about such thing. For example, when we look into the life of Jesus Christ, there are very few, resources or information regarding the 12 years, before the 12 years of Jesus Christ, the early age of Jesus Christ. It is quite a minimal. Information is there, but it's quite low. And to make sure that information counts or valid, we have to do more research. That is a revised research. Anything that we do, apart from the research actually has been done on it, if you're doing a rework on it, so that is also called as a revised way of doing the assignment or doing the research progress. So when we see a critical investigation is also important. Critical investigation involves academic styles. It involves the academic, arguments. You have to do a debate. You have to put things, what is in advantage, what is the disadvantage, what you agree on things and what you do not agree, any other thing. So these are the two parts of a coin. A single coin is there and there are two parts. You have to keep them together and you have to show the world what is your solution for that. So there is a critical investigation, a scientific inquiry. So you now understand such kind of things, what is there in the research. Okay, I would like to read another definition. It is a studious inquiry or examination, especially critical and exhaustive investigation or experimentation having for its aim the discovery of new facts and their correct interpretation, the revision of accepted conclusions, theories or laws in the light of newly discovered facts, or the practical applications of such new or revised conditions or conclusions, theories or laws. This definition is found in Webster's Third New International Dictionary. This will be there in your books, the collection of books that we are going to provide. It's the Hunter P. Mabry book. You have to get the Hunter P. Mabry book A Manual for Research and Research Writing. It is a very good book, and you can find the definitions, all the 3 definitions in that. The PDF file will be uploaded in the classroom, and you can check through the classroom details about the book. So we know that research is quite a big investigation. It has it goes through a rigorous or exhaustive investigation as well. It has a scientific inquiry. It can revise the data which has been collected, and then it needs a critical thought. It needs a critical investigation. It needs an absolute critical idea of your own perspective, a debate. You cannot agree on what it has been shown. So you have to have a critical idea, a critical method, or a critical tool to find out the research. So research involves so many things, and it gives you the idea that yes, research has to go through all of this. So this understanding involves at least 8 elements or assumptions which deserve further attention. Okay, it has 8 elements of doing your research. So in the foundational idea, we'll be dealing at these 8 elements of the research. What is the first element of a research? Is the existing knowledge. The number 1 is existing knowledge. What is existing knowledge? Research assumes that there is already an existing body of knowledge. The knowledge can be true, or the knowledge can be, false, or the knowledge just is an assumption or an idea. Okay, knowledge is one's general area of investigation. You have to find your own title or your own associative area where you trying to do some investigation. So in that section, there is always an assumption that there is some general information about that problem. So one implication is that early in the research process, the researcher should become acquainted with his existing body of knowledge. You must be acquainted. Why I say that you have to be acquainted with your research is, for example, you want to do a research on certain place. The first and foremost thing is that you have to understand that place. You have to gather the most appropriate information about that place, and that place gives you, if it makes you acquainted, if you are more familiar about that place and the reality, the problems, the issues, and a lot of things are there. So what you have to do is that you have to acquaint yourself. You have to be more familiar. You have to know that place more deeper. In that sense, it gives an overall idea that you have certain amount of information. This is the process, of investigating. So first you have to try, to understand the existing knowledge. The existing knowledge is very much important for beginning of the new research. New research should then be related to the general accepted body of knowledge. This applies even in the case of original research, investigation of an area which has not been previously studied, or by means of any approach or method not used previously. So what happens now? You know the area. You have the idea of that area, but there is no prior research on it. But when you do the research priorly on that basis, it becomes a new research for you, and this formulates your idea to bring out the problems on it and the solution. So there is an existing knowledge. That knowledge has to come to the body of your investigation. So in the beginning, you have to find an existing knowledge about the area of your research. And in the second element that we are going to find out in research studies is increasing or strengthening the knowledge. You have to increase or you have to strengthen your knowledge. As implied above, when we read this one earlier, research assumes that it is possible to increase or strengthen the body of knowledge in one's area of study. For the researcher, knowledge is not regarded as a fixed body of information to be inherited and passed on, nor as a quantified body of information to which research adds additional information. In contrast to such static views, for the serious researcher, existing knowledge is viewed as representing the current level of understanding of our world. You have to level up your knowledge. The knowledge that you have in the existing knowledge is what you have to add on certain more information on it. If you find information regarding that place, then you have to go through the process of search. The process of search begins from the area of investigation. Once you know the existing knowledge, you have to strengthen, you have to give more knowledge to it. You have to find out more information on that knowledge. This brings your research a good strength. This gives the idea, oh yes, this research is a good research. This research has a valid fact. This research can be revised, can be learned, and can be accepted in the academic world. So the perfect way of doing research from the very beginning is, number one, you have to have an idea of existing knowledge, and then you have to start increasing your existing knowledge. You have to strengthen your existing knowledge. Then the third is the critical approach. As already implied, scholarly research assumes that increasing knowledge within one's area of study requires that a critical approach be adopted for examining the present state of knowledge in that area. Existing understandings will need to be subjected to a critical scrutiny. I said it earlier. When we need to look at certain area of understanding, there is a need of critical thinking. Critical thinking is must. You have to have an analysis examining what you are doing. You have to examine your facts, whether it is true or not. If it is true, how and why? What are the applications? What are the implications? What is right in that? You have to examine. And you cannot just simply take a fact, write it on the paper, this is what I did. No, you have to have a critical thinking. You have to look at those people, those who have done in that area, a research in that area, why they have done this research in that area. So why they have come to that fact. So you have to find out what is right in that critical approach. So that kind of mentality to find it out, examining out, you need a critical approach to your research. This does not mean that the existing knowledge that you have is to be, automatically regarded as erroneous, or it's error, it's just kind of an error. No, it's not like that. It's wrong. No, it's not like that. The problem is that when you are getting a knowledge, it is not always accepted as true, because in academic research areas, we do not consider conclusion at the beginning. We have to find a research. We have to do some new facts adding to this. That strengthens, the idea of research. So the point here is that you have to have a critical thinking of doing the research. So when we look into more adaptable process of critical approach, critical approach also means that in our research, we must seriously consider materials which challenge any hypothesis, bias, or personal interest with which we begin our research, as well as materials which confirm these. For example, we go to find a research area. When we go there, we do some kind of investigation. There is an hypothesis in that. That means you have a question about that problem. Yes, this is the problem. You have to add what the problem actually is. So what is the problem? You have to find that hypothesis. There is a fact, but that fact cannot be reliable. If you want to rely on that fact, you have to do proper investigation. So this critical approach brings out the hypothesis and then bias statements, or the chaotic statements which you cannot rely on it, some kind of thing. For example, there was an accident. You went to that place. You spoke with a couple of people. You spoke to those people, those who were there at the present. One will say the car hit the bus. The other will say no, the bus hit the car. The other way around, there are so many other people, they will say no, the car did not hit the bus, neither the bus hit the car. It was somebody else who came in between. They could not apply the brakes. So it is neither mistake of the car or the mistake of the bus. So there are such kind of hypotheses, or there are such kind of information you will get. So what are you going to depend on? Are you going to depend on the car hitting the bus? or bus hitting the car, or neither of them, somebody else is responsible. So there is a misconception, there is a biased data in front of you. So what you have to do is you have to look at the appropriate fact. What is the fact reality is? Even you have to speak to the person, if the person is alive, how it happened. The both of them have to give their proper assumption or proper idea of how it happened. So this is very much important, that how did you deal with your research. So you have a critical approach to your problem and you need a proper solution. To collect material which supports a particular position may enlarge one's resources for propaganda or disinformation purpose, but this does not constitute research. See, the data is not appropriate always. The data has different meaning. You have to concentrate on your research. You cannot skip the research just because you do not have the proper information. To find out, it is much needed that you concentrate and consecute your ideas through it, and you have to go through the appropriate research through the critical way of finding. The fourth element of research is known as the problem-centered orientation. As already noted, that research is not concerned with merely writing on a subject area, but with finding an answer to a single specific problem or a question. Research assumes that the focus of inquiry can be stated in terms of a question or problem for which is, persuasive answer is not yet known. So there is a continuous way of finding it. You have to go and go and go on, in that research process. One of the most essential steps for productive research is the development early in the research process for a clear, unambiguous statement of the problem to be investigated. So you have to go through, the process. You have to go through the development of the research. You have to find out the unambiguous and the clear information to investigate more deeper to find the solution of your problem. So the fourth element describes that you have to have the problem-centered orientation. You have to stick to that problem. That problem needs solution. You cannot jump around or out of the problem and come to a conclusion without that problem. So that problem itself has information. That problem itself will give you the information. If you go within the problem, you cannot just run away of the other things. You cannot just find out things which is unclear or ambiguous to the problem. The formulation of a problem is often more essential than its solution. If you find out the problem, if you are able to find or formulate the problem, what the problem is all about, you have the solution already. So it is said that formulation of a problem is often more essential than its solution, because solution you will get it unless you understand the problem. If you do not understand the problem, the solution is always in the question mark, and then the bias solution is not the answer of your research, because research needs appropriate solution, the solution that can be revised, that can rely on it, and you can do a persuasive reading after your solution is entering to your problem. Indeed, some researchers would argue that it is possible to find a solution only after a research problem has been clearly formulated. It is true. Even I take this statement as positive and correct, because if you do not know the problem, how will you find the solution? So finding out the problem is more important than finding out the solution, because I guess about 50% of your challenges of your investigation problems investigation research solution depends on your problem question. The question itself gives you the idea of your solution. For example, I have to investigate how did the accident happen, what is the main reason of the accident happen. So I will concentrate on that topic. I will concentrate only to that problem, how it happened, whether it was a brake failure. So I can find that solution, maybe a brake failure, maybe he was lazy or drunk or something that can come when I start doing my research. No, if I just find out a problem that some problem is there. What is the problem? And then I start going and asking to the people. There was a car accident, and I just ask, where was the car accident, why was the car accident, and then what time it has accident. It doesn't need of that kind of approach. It needs how that has happened, and what is the solution for that. How can I help, to the traffic rules or organization, the traffic control organization? How can my research help them and the people to be aware of skipping that kind of accidental processes? So this is one of the fact for me to find out the research. The problem is more important for me than to find out the solution. So this is what you have to concentrate on, the idea of finding out. The first four that we will be looking at is the existing knowledge, then strengthening your knowledge. Then the third one is that you have to concentrate. The idea must be on the problem. The problem-centered orientation is must needed. And then the fourth one is, the problem must be at the beginning. Okay, the problem should have you have to formulate the problem. Okay, so the problem-centered orientation is more important than anything else. So I will repeat it once again. Okay, for our proper understanding, you have to have a existing knowledge, increase or strengthening your knowledge. You have to a critical approach, and then the fourth one is finding out the problem so that you can find out the solution. These are the first four aspects of understanding a research problem, and then we have the next four which we will be looking at in the next class. So I will see you friends in the next class with all the information about the next four research elements and how they formulate our idea on research elements. So I'll see you in the next class. God bless.